Okay, sixth graders, we're at the end of the chapter, chapter 1. And so let's go through a review of what we've learned about in chapter 1. Starting with lesson 1-1, way back the first week of school. We talked about comparing numbers and using the symbols greater than, less than, or equal to. Okay, remember that less than points left, greater than points right. So you will always put them so that the open part, remember, goes toward the bigger number, but when you're reading it, you read it as the less than sign or the greater than sign, depending on which way it's pointing, okay? And we talked about expanded form and word form with a hyphen in between the two-digit numbers. Now we talked about rounding numbers, front-end estimation. So using the front of the number, rounding it to a digit that we can easily add or subtract or multiply. When you're multiplying and estimating, you multiply the digits and then put all the zeros in the answer. With multiplication, you put all the zeros in the answer. Okay? With division, though, you use compatible numbers to solve it. So you don't round and then put all the answers in when you're doing division. You actually cross out the zeros, as many zeros as possible for each one. Okay?
I didn't get a sheet.
Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. You're welcome. So remember to cross out zeros, the same number of zeros from each number when you are dividing. Okay? And divide so that the numbers fit and go together evenly. That's what compatible numbers means. Also, when you're estimating, you should always make sure that your answer makes sense. Okay? Then in lesson 4, we talked about adding and subtracting numbers, rounding and estimating, and then finding the actual answer. Making sure you line up the decimal places, line up the place values. In multiplying and dividing, we talked about using, whenever the division is written this way, the first number always goes inside of the house, or whatever you're calling that. Inside of the shed. Okay? That's called the dividend. The number outside is called the divisor. And then you divide it out. The bottom number is called the remainder. After you've used all these numbers, you might have a remainder. And then we use that remainder to answer questions. To see how we would use this remainder if we have leftovers. Okay? Do you remember this stuff? Nod your head if you remember this stuff. Yep. Good. Then we talk about exponents. Exponent is the little number. It tells you how many times to multiply the base times itself. And remember, when we took that quiz, some people forgot to do that. They forgot to multiply the base times itself, instead multiplied the base times the exponent. That's not how you find the answer here. Okay? Remember, 4 to the second power does not mean 4 times 2. It doesn't equal 8. It means 4 times 4. It equals 16. Also remember, any number to the 0 power equals 1. No matter what the number is, any number to the 0 power is 1. Okay? Then, base 10 numbers and writing out numbers in expanded form using exponents. So first, we took these digits and we wrote them out like this example. 7,000 plus 300 plus 70 plus 5. And then taking each of these values and writing them as powers of 10. So 7 times 10 to the third power gives us 7,000. And 3 times 10 to the second power gives us 300. And so on and so on. The last digit, the ones place, was 5 times 10 to the 0 power, because that equals 5. So that was the first part of the chapter.
Bless you.
Let's see. And then the second part, mental math strategies. Oops, that's skipping ahead a little bit. We talked about order of operations, PEMDAS, and don't forget, even some of the 7th graders forgot this on their test. Write this down when you're doing problems like this. That'll help you have a visual of just a reminder of what to do, okay? We talked about working problems out, writing the answer underneath, and then bringing down what's left. Exponent first in this problem, and then multiply, and then add and subtract in order from left to right. Okay? Here's some more examples that we talked about from lesson 8. Then, the last 2 lessons were on properties and rules and using them. The commutative property, the associative property, the identity property, the additive identity property, so adding 0, the multiplicative identity property. Multiplicative means multiplication. Multiplicative identity property, 0 property, any number times 0, and the distributive property. And then the last lesson was on mental math strategies. We just talked about it. So if you need to review any of those videos, you can go through and find those. If you're not sure about how to use those properties, you can go back and look at lesson 1.9. If you need to review order of operations, you can go back to that video and watch it and see those example problems, okay? Take a look at your assignment for tomorrow. I'm going to give you some hints to write down. In the first one, number 1, remember exponents. What exponents do? Multiply the base times itself. Base times itself. Okay? Number 2, it says to estimate. This is a division problem. What sort of estimation strategy should we use for division? Compatible numbers. So we should round the numbers given to the numbers that fit together without a remainder. And then we also should cross out zeros to get the answer. Okay? Number 3, it says find the sum, add the numbers. Number 4, word form, so go ahead and look, find that one. Number 5, the properties. I'll give you a hint for number 5. Are these in the same order? It starts with x plus y plus z equals x plus y plus z. But the parentheses are in a different place. So if you look back in your notes, it shows you one just like this. If you imagine x and y and z being real numbers, like 8 plus 6 plus 4, you might want to do 8 plus 6 plus 4, 6 plus 4 first. Okay? Number 6 is just multiply and find the product. Number 7, everyone go to number 7 because this is a 2-point question. All right, you might want to write number 7, write 2 points, because whenever it asks you to write the mental math, use mental math, I want you to show the mental math strategy you're using. So for this one, 33 times 11, we had one in our homework where it was a number times 11. And so we could do this in different ways. And I'll even go through this one with you. How could you write 33? 30 plus 3 times 11. And then multiply 11 times each of the numbers and add them together. Or you could choose to break the 11 up and do 33 times 10 plus 1. 33 and then times 11, but we rewrote 11 as 10 plus 1. Danny?
I did 11 times 11 and then I know it's 121, so I added 121 3 times. 121 plus 121 plus 121.
Okay. Yeah. So make sure you write that down. Show that. Okay? Krista?
So if we need like a scrap piece of paper, can we just use stuff in our notebooks?
You can, but I'd like you to use the margins when you're showing your work for points, because when I grade it on the test, I'm going to just look at the test. Okay? Maya?
What's the quotient?
What's the what?
What's the quotient?
Quotient.
Quotient.
A quotient is an answer to a division problem. Okay? Number 8. It says just write the expression with exponents. So what does 12 times 12 times 12 times 12 times 12 mean? How would you write that with an exponent? That's the little number. Number 9, place value, I think you know that one. Number 10. Number 10. In number 10, it's asking you to find a number that's equal on the other side to this side. So you probably want to work backwards on this. Find the answer to this side first. What is the answer to 6 times 4? 24. And then that's equal to 15 plus a number that's being squared. So again, work backwards. What plus 15 is 24? Nine is, yep. We know that the answer to this is 9. What number squared equals 9? 9 equals what number squared? Don't say the answer if you know it. But that's how you could work backwards to find this answer. Okay? Number 11 is just finding the quotient and remainder, just dividing. Number 12 is using the symbol. 13 is order from least to greatest. 14, which shows where to place the parentheses. So parentheses means to do that first. What you have to do for number 14 is to find the answer to each of them. So first you have to do, you know that the answer is 12. The answer has to be 12. So for A, it gives you 8 times 4 in parentheses minus 3 plus 2 squared. So if you followed this order of operations, what would the answer be? Does that equal 12? Well, here's the example. You have to do exponents first. Bring down what's left. Oops, this is times. 8 times 4 is 32 minus 3 plus 4. Then we have to do order from left to right. And this is all addition and subtraction, isn't it? 32 minus 3 is 29, plus 4 is 33. Does that equal to 12? Does that equal 12? Nope. A does not work, so cross out A. You have to find either B, C, or D that equals 12. Number 15 is about the properties. 15 is about the commutative property. 16, remember 50 squared is equal to 50 times 2? Nope. 50 times 50. Right. And then the answer to that. 17 is just finding the answer to those. 18 is properties. 19 is exponents. 20 is problem solving. Mrs. Cornwall lives 48 miles from where she works. She drives to and from work each day for 21 days in a month. Now, the key here is when you're drawing this out, draw a model of her house. You could draw a model of her work. It kind of looks like the Viking Stadium. And how far does she have to drive? She has to drive 48 miles to work. Does she have to drive home?
No.
Yeah.
So you have to figure that out, okay? And then number 21, Dennis wants to have 1 hot dog available for each guest at his barbecue. Oh, we've done a lot of these problems, right? Finding the remainder and what to do with the remainder, okay? It's one of those problems like that, where you have to use the remainder to help you answer the question. Okay? That's it. This is graded tomorrow.